In today's Chart Chat episode of Midlife by Design, we're talking with 3/6 emotional projector Sandi Konta about how to really embrace your genius. Sandi was an A-plus good girl who grew into a burned-out, resentful supermom. Everything started to shift after she literally lost her voice and could see how she was complicit in her own oppression. As a Wayfinder life coach and a certified fair play facilitator, Sandi's mission is to help women break free from societal expectations, reclaim their worth and their time, and design a life that honors their unique needs and dreams. Sandi skips through the blueberry bogs in southern Maine, where she's a mother of two, a partner to a sensitive soul, a puppy mama, a local activist, and joyfully mediocre
Welcome
gardener.
Back to Midlife by
We're
Design.
taking a peek
Today
at her
we
chart
have
to discover how to
Chart
balance
Chat
it all as a
happening with
non-sacral
Sandi
being.
Konta.
If you're
Thank you
loving
so
this
much
pod,
for being
remember to
here.
subscribe
Sandi
and share it with a
met
friend.
on
I'm your host,
Threads
Lori
a few
Lisai,
months
human design
ago.
teacher and midlife
so can you
coach,
tell
here
us
to
a little
help
bit
you
about
use
yourself
human
before we
design
jump
to shed the
into your
shoulds and
chart?
be who you came here
I would
to
be
be.
happy to.
Let's
I live
dive
up
in.
in Maine, where we have copious amounts of snow outside right now, which is really kind of a treat because it was weirdly warm for a large portion of the fall and the winter. I'm a mom. I have two kids, and professionally, I'm a life coach. I completed Martha Beck's Wayfinder coach training, and I'm also a certified fair play facilitator. So I help women who are stuck in a pattern of pleasing everybody but themselves. And I really want them to know that there's nothing to fix. They are perfect the way they are, and any messages that they receive that has made them doubt who they are or their worth are coming from outside of them. And I talk a lot about societal conditioning. I know you do too.
Yeah.
And I just love the work, and I'm so grateful to be here.
Thank you. I'm so grateful that you are here, and you can see how Sandi and I would have connected on Threads because we definitely talk about a lot of the same things. So thank you for sharing your genius. Okay. Can you see your chart okay?
Now I can see it.
All right. Can
My
you
picture.
share with me your question?
I am a projector, and I am just beginning my journey of learning about it. And it's been validating and very helpful. One of the things that I read is that projectors have a specific perspective and wisdom to share, and I've heard it called a genius, which is something I would associate with Albert Einstein or something to that effect. But I just want to be able to embrace that idea, and I wanted your wisdom in helping me figure out how to cultivate it, knowing that I also have varying levels of energy as a projector.
Yeah.
Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Absolutely. Great question.
Okay.
Yeah. So a little bit of context about the projector energy type. If we're looking at like the 5 different energy types, we have manifestors, projectors, generators, manifesting generators, and reflectors. And each energy type has a role to play. And so this is kind of where the idea of genius comes in from the projector standpoint, because it's like manifestors initiate stuff and get us started, and projectors are here to guide. They're here to guide the energy of generators and manifesting generators. I also like to remind people that type is just one part, one little slice of your chart. And yes, it's important. And plus also it's like when you're eating a chocolate chip cookie, you're not just eating the chocolate chips, you're eating all of the different ingredients of it to come together. So, type is important, but it's just the chocolate chip. It's not all the rest of the ingredients. So your projector genius is in guiding people. And yes, it's true that projectors are not sacral beings, right? So they don't have that built-in Energizer Bunny energy. However, your chart, you do have 2 motors that are defined. So you have your root center defined, and you have 4 gates in there that are defined. So you've got a lot of energy coming out of there. And you have your emotional solar plexus defined, which is also a motor. And the other 2 motors are the will center, the heart, and the sacral. So you have 2 of the 4 motor centers, even as a non-sacral being. So it means that compared to some other projectors, you may find that you actually do have a little bit more energy on the regular, especially when it comes to providing pressure. So from the root, this is like pressure. It's a pressure center to get things done, basically, to like move things forward. And it can be pushing on the solar plexus, so your emotions, which in your case, yours is because you have the 4130 channel. So you're getting this constant like pressure to your emotional center that's pushing that emotional energy through you. So you can count on that to be consistent. And you can think about like that is part of your genius. Anywhere that you have definition in your chart, those are places, those are gifts, those are consistent energies. And you don't really have to try to do anything with them. It's more like having the awareness that they are there. So for you, it's this root pushing on your emotions that's the kind of go get 'em energy that you have. It's through really your emotional authority. So
Can you give me an example of how that would show up day to day?
Yeah. So let's say you're working with a client who is a non-emotional. Maybe they're a sacral generator. And you show up and they start sharing a story with you that's tugging at your heartstrings, that's really charged emotionally. And so you are going to feel what you're feeling in the moment. And you're going to ideally set aside any expectations of perhaps what a coach should do in a session, and instead be your authentic self by sharing those emotions as that story is shared, because in doing so, you are feeling, you are emoting, and that is providing energy for you to do the work that you're doing with this client.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking. The other thing that I wanted to share was you mentioned the idea of genius kind of being relatively uncomfortable, and you have the 4323 channel, which is one of my favorite channels in all of human design. It's such a fun, funky energy, and it's called the Freak to Genius channel. And yeah, the reason it's called that is because oftentimes people who have this channel will be talking about things that seem a little freaky, that seem, sort of put them in the category of you're weird. And it can happen for a really long time. They can be talking about these things for a really long time. And then all of a sudden, it's like people get it. They suddenly get it. And that's when literally the switch is flipped from freak to genius. And people start to realize like, oh my God, what she's been saying all along is like, makes so much sense. That kind of thing. And yeah. And so getting really comfortable with the idea of genius, I think it'd be really important for you.
I feel like you're making me want to get really uncomfortable with or comfortable with the idea of freak.
Absolutely, because not everybody is going to understand what you're talking about right away, especially as a projector. Like, and they may not be ready to hear it right away. So invitations will be important for people to actually see your genius. However, when you are invited, and it feels to you like a genuine invitation and that you've been recognized, then that is proof then that they are seeing your genius.
Mm.
So you can use it as evidence building for yourself. That's really external though. Like
Yeah.
I would love for you to maybe do some mirror work. Just start weaving in some of that language into your lexicon and talking about yourself as a genius, because you do. Yes, you do have genius to share. It's literally part of why you came here. So it's really important for you to do that. So I wanted to touch on that channel because it's such an important channel. I wanted to mention about 4323 being a dot connector. It's like, you may be driving down the road and you see a road sign that makes you think of something, and then you're in the grocery store and you're having a conversation and that makes you think of something further down that line of thought. And then you go home and you're watching a film and something comes up. When you see all these different pieces that are seemingly unrelated, but you with this channel are able to connect them. And that is a genius. Does that land? Does that feel true?
It does. I feel like my mind's always like jumping from random thing to random thing. Yeah, that does land. And it's like so incredible to hear it mirrored back to me. It's something like somebody else. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Human
It's powerful.
human design is it's such a cool tool. Okay. I also wanted to mention gate 21 is your sun gate, and it's up here at the top of your chart. And our sun gate holds 70% of our energy, so it's pretty important. And one of the ways that you can think about the different elements of human design when you're learning about them is to filter them through your sun gate. Like, okay, I am a projector. How can that help me live the highest expression of my sun gate? Okay, I have a defined root. How can that help me live the highest expression of my sun gate? Every single element of your design, think about it comes back to your sun gate, and how can you use it to really help? Because this is essentially what you came here for, is mostly the energy of your sun gate. So for you, it's gate 21, which is in the will center or the heart center here. And gate 21 is all about control, and specifically controlling resources. So, yes, it would be interesting for you to get curious about how does that play into your everyday? And is there anything that you could, infuse into the work that you're doing that would speak to this element of control? And you're working with women and questioning societal norms. And I could see a through line very easily there in terms of like, the more women we have controlling more resources, the better our world will be. And I think that is, to some people, a very radical idea. And I also think that for you, actively like doing it in your day to day and then also sharing about it will probably be really empowering for the women that you serve. So I'm curious how that lands.
I think so much about my mission being helping, women unburden themselves from societal norms. And that when women are free, they free their families, their communities, and the world. And I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
But I think about information as a resource. And that was what came up when you talked about controlling resources. And I like enjoy sharing information, but I haven't thought of it the way you did, although I 1000% agree that,
Hmm.
if women lead, we'll have more resources.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that specifically.
Yeah. Well, I something to, mull over. Um, and I want to make sure that I also answer your question, which all of these things are kind of related to your
Mhm.
question, but I want to bring them back and kind of synthesize. So, your question was about living out your genius, being able to stay rooted in it while not like sapping your energy, right?
Yes.
Uh, okay. And so a really big part of it is awareness. It is understanding how your body works. Do you live with sacrals? Do you know?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. That would be a good thing to know.
Okay. I have
Because
charts printed.
okay, perfect. So if you're living with sacral beings, then you are taking on and amplifying that sacral energy, which means that sometimes you could be acting like a super generator, even though you're a projector. And then when you finally get in your own energy, you're like, holy shit, I am so freaking exhausted. And how old are your kids?
11 and 12.
Oh yeah. Okay. So they're getting independent, right? But they still need you. So you're sort of in this transition. Yeah. So I am a big fan of the projector nap, what I call the projector nap, which is literally building in time in your day to get horizontal. You don't even necessarily have to be sleeping. You could just be putting your body in the horizontal position. Could be 10 minutes, just sort of power naps or power rest
Mm-hmm.
chunks of time. I think will be helpful for you. And then noticing if you have any routines that are supportive for you and maybe start experimenting a little bit. Your 3-6 profile, so you have tons of experimental energy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think it'll be really important to be aware of your energy and when you really just need to prioritize rest.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Ross says that projectors should be working like no more than 4 hours a day, roughly. Each person is very unique. And so you have to figure out what feels right for you and learn like, how does the root feel? I have a defined root. For me, I know that I don't get shit done until I have to because I don't feel like I'm under pressure. Instead, I am the pressure. So when it's
Mm-hmm.
functioning, it's just like, okay, I'm going to pack for a big trip. Great. I'll do it in 20 minutes and I'll do it the night before. Like I'll be ready and it'll be fine. So learning those types of things about yourself will help you to be most aware of how your specific energy works. And then the energy that you do have, just really focusing on staying in your genius, sharing what you feel excited about, what you feel really called to do, and doing that without getting wrapped up in, is anybody seeing me? Is anybody noticing this? Is anybody hearing this? Really sinking into that 43-23, knowing that, okay, it might be coming off as freaky to some people right now. And I'm just like, maybe I'm just building the freak blocks right now. And then pretty soon I'm going to have a whole pyramid of genius.
Mm.
So it's really about just staying focused on your genius and not on being recognized for it, and trusting that by staying focused on your genius, it will be recognized by the right people.
That's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, that is what I have for you. So thank you so much for sharing your chart with us and for asking a really great question. I know lots of projectors are in your same boat in terms of struggling with being a non-sacral in a sacral world. You're only 20% of the population. So You are very much going to be riding the waves of all of the generators around you. And so understanding the difference between that energy and what you bring to the table will be really, really important.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Word putting these notes into play.
Oh, good. Yay. That's great. Can you tell us, do you have anything cooking right now? How can people find you? Tell us all about that stuff.
My business is called Done Being Good, and you can find me at my website, donebeinggood.com. I'm also on Instagram and Threads. And I have a couple resources that folks might be interested in. I have a free pre-recorded introduction to Fair Play, which is a system to help couples share chores equitably. I've taught dozens of workshops, and it's my best sort of culmination of that. I interweave the societal pieces within the workshop because to me they go together. You have to unlearn to move forward together, and it's all very possible. I come with a message of hope, and then I also have a workshop coming up about how to invite your partner without blame to do more at home, because I firmly believe it's the patriarchy, the capitalist patriarchy we need to be blaming, not each other.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. So I thank you for doing the work that you're doing.
I feel very lucky, and thank you for having me on this podcast.
It's time to get off the fence and get onto a plane. You've been thinking about Costa Rica and just haven't hit the book button, and that ends today, my friend. If our retreat is calling to you, we cannot wait to meet you in Dominical, Costa Rica. Embrace your fuck it era and make it happen, gorgeous soul. Link is in the show notes. Choose a room that lights you up and imagine how different your life can be in just 1 month. And if you love this episode, remember that a human design reading comes with a retreat booking. I'm sending you strength to let go of what no longer serves you, joy to fill your days, and the clarity to be who you came here to be.